am Tim Cheney, and I am the president, owner, founder, whatever, of ENSO Recovery. Formerly, you may have known us as Gray Street, and I had been a minor investor in that, and I appeared before you for the 69 Eagle Drive permit several years ago. So between myself and Mr. Danzig, Steve Danzig, who is has more letters after his name than the alphabet has, we're both in, to break his anonymity, we're both in long-term recovery. We have about 58 years between us in long-term recovery, and we've both been, and also working around this field, the field of substance use rehabilitation. I've also been a witness to what's happened in Florida, and very integral in getting the laws changed down there where actually sober houses need to be certified, and that if a clinician refers somebody to a sober house that's not certified, they're subject to criminal sanctions. We've seen this go two ways. Sober houses play a very vital role. There are two impediments in recovery. Once they go through treatment, you have employment and you have housing. And without those two, it's hard to sustain recovery. And so we are for sober houses. We just want to make sure that the appropriate regimen, policies, guidelines, etc., are implemented and adhered to, so that what happens in the town of Sanford isn't what has happened in some communities that entered into this naively. And that's why we recommended the change in recovery time for that, for boundary issues. And Mr. Danzig can speak more to that. We have facilities in Portland. We have the facility. We worked very closely with the police commissioner this year. And we also have a facility, a new facility in Westbrook. We specialize in MAT for opioid dependent individuals, opioid use disorder, although we do treat all substance use disorders, but we do specialize in that. We work very closely with Bill King, and we're going to be undertaking a program with him very shortly. And we were able to secure additional funding for the lapse in the police grant, so that we've retained all of the people that did very well, by the way, on the police grant at the program.
Councilor Sackville.
Yeah, I asked you this question during the meeting, so I kind of know the answer, but we reviewed the whole ordinance with both of you.
Correct.
And I asked at the end of the ordinance, I guess, with the exception you'd like to see the management higher than 2 years, but you were okay with that. But the other aspects of the ordinance, you both were comfortable with that and thought that we were putting the right
We were
framework
very
in place.
comfortable with that. The only thing I would like to add, and that I will push for, is we'd like to have an ethical oversight, so that if there are any complaints, that internally, initially, there is basically an ethics committee that investigates any complaint by any client or any neighbor, etc., for that, to make sure that people are in compliance. So not only will you folks be watching us, but we will be watching us, and hopefully you will never see us because we've watched so well. And that's sort of just like in any professional association, you have an ethics committee. And so we're going to put that together.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Steve, do you have anything you'd like to add? You're the clinician. I'm just the...
I mean,
He summed it up pretty well, but if you want to add to it.
He did. I don't have too much more to add on top of him as usual. But I've been working in the field for about 20 years, and I've worked in all manners of treatment and levels of care. Worked with a broad range of treatment programs around the United States for about half that time. So very familiar with the laws, rules, regulations. I think the ethics component that Tim spoke of is just extremely important to this. Not only to make sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing and doing what they say they're doing, but for us as well. This is why Tim says I have all these licenses. I do, in fact, have them all, but I'm beholden by a board, so they can make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's the reason for that. Is just to keep oversight on the industry. So.
Well, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
thank you for
You're
all
welcome.
that you're doing for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.